It is time to talk about the Desert Foxes, the first of the African teams that we'll be previewing ahead of the 2026 World Cup, and the African team that I'm potentially the most bullish on going into this tournament. One of the ones I'm most excited to see, along with a few others. I'm excited to see the whole of Africa show up and light up the continent of North America this summer at the World Cup. But Algeria is a team that has a special place in my heart. I've enjoyed watching this team for quite some time now, and I thought it was only right that it's time to make a video on them. I know I've got a few Algerians in the comments who'll be buzzing to see this. This is for you guys. I love Algeria. I'm very excited to watch them at this tournament. So let's preview what could possibly happen for Algeria at this tournament. What are the expectations? What's the squad looking like? And just in general, what is going to happen with Algeria at this World Cup? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Algeria is very much an unknown going into this tournament, and I think that's kind of the general consensus among everybody. Nobody really knows what to expect from them. You know, they're a national team that hasn't been at the World Cup since 2014, where they had a very good showing, right? Losing to the eventual champions Germany in the round of 16 in extra time. It was Andre Schürrle who broke the deadlock, and then was it Mesut Ozil that scored, and then Feghouli scored, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Algeria went knocked out. They didn't make the last two World Cups, even though they won an AFCON in between that time. It was in 2019, the one in Egypt. And now they're back again. They're in Argentina's group, you know, playing. Last time they played the eventual champions. Now they've got the current champions in their group, so that's going to be interesting. Alongside Austria, which there's a huge storyline there due to the disgrace of Gijón back in 1982. For those of us who remember, go have a look at that. We'll get into that. That was crazy. And then debutants Jordan, one of the groups I'm most interested in, and Algeria is one of the teams I'm most keen to watch at this tournament. At this most recent AFCON, the first tournament under current manager Vladimir Petkovic, Algeria did probably as people expected, a quarterfinal finish, losing out to a very, very talented Nigerian team that ended up taking the bronze medal. It was fair, it was a step in the right direction after getting grouped at the previous two AFCONs, which was a complete disaster. Algeria were back in business again. And with Petkovic's first tournament, I think he learned a lot, and I think he's going into this tournament much more experienced, knows more about his squad, and, you know, determined to make something happen at this tournament, especially with them playing the opening game of their World Cup against current champions Argentina, who lost their opening game 4 years ago against Saudi Arabia, and Algeria will be trying to replicate something similar. Now, if we look at the squad that was at the AFCON, right, Algeria have suffered a couple of injuries, mainly Luka Zidane in goal, who we still don't know if he's going to be able to play at the World Cup. If he isn't, that could be an issue, and because Algeria have had a few other goalkeepers out injured as well, so that's potentially worrying. And defensively, we're worried for them as well. Ben Sebaini got injured. Don't know if he's going to play either. I'm actually not sure about that. If he's out, that's going to be a big problem, because Algeria defensively already struggling with someone like Aissa Mandi, who's already 34. You know, he's a bit slow. The fullbacks I like Ait Nouri, I like Belgali. I think they're going to do very well. I think they're very good going forward, have lots of energy, and that's not going to be an issue. The midfield was something that was an issue, especially in that Nigeria game when Benacer was out injured. They were getting ran through. Zarouki wasn't good enough, and Boudaoui really needed somebody like Benacer next to him to hold the fort down. And I think Boudaoui is going to have another big tournament for the Algerians at this World Cup, and I think he can do that. I think he's a top player. But then once you go into the attack, oh my God, this is where just your mind is blown. On one side, who's it going to be? They've got so many options, you don't even know. You've got Riyad Mahrez, who is obviously the captain, he's the legend, he's the man who took them to that AFCON win in 2019, but he is 35 years old at Al Ahly, and a lot of fans, myself included, don't think he should be starting anymore. I think that spot should go to Anis Hadj Moussa, who is at Feyenoord, who's had a very good season at Feyenoord, 8 goals, 6 assists in the league. He's 23 years old. His left foot is an absolute wand. He's a creating machine. His crosses are fantastic, and he should be the one starting on the right, in my opinion. But I do think it will be Mahrez, who still has something to offer. In the 10, though, the most exciting, entertaining player on this team, a man that's going to light up the stage at this World Cup, Ibrahim Mazzadona. What a season at Bayer Leverkusen. First season in the Bundesliga, coming from the second Bundesliga at Hertha last year, and he's been absolutely quality. He is actual silk. His close control dribbling is brilliant. His creativity is fantastic. He can strike a football very well. And I just think he's he's a proper number 10. He's a throwback 10. He's a bit similar to Ryan Cherki. What a player. I mean, Cherki, where does he come from as well, right? Originally. So Mazza, I'm telling you, this is going to be his tournament. Give the keys to Mazza and he'll take you to victory. And then you have Amura, who's at Wolfsburg, not had the greatest season, right, compared to last season and then the season before at Union Saint-Gilloise, but he's still a top player. He can play off the left, he can play through the middle. If he does play off the left, is it going to be Amin Gouiri, who wasn't at the AFCON, but he's back now and he's having a good season at Marseille. He was struggling with injuries, but he's back, and I think that he has to be starting for this team. It just depends how you want to do it, right? He came back obviously in the friendly against Guatemala, scored a brace in a game that Algeria won 7-0. Then you've got the likes of Chebi, you've got the likes of Buneja, you've got the likes of Bulbina. There are so many attacking options for this Algerian team. It's really hard to come up with who's actually going to play for them. I think they've got so many options. And I think that's really what Petkovic has to decide now. Because the issue at the AFCON that I thought was Algeria were trying to play crossing football to 5'7" tall Mohamed Amoura. That was never going to work. If he wants to play that style of football, it might have to be Baghdad Bounedjah through the middle, because I'm not sure how Amin Gouiri is tall. We can have a look. He's 5'11", right? If Petkovic wants to play that style of football, it's going to have to be Baghdad Bounedjah through the middle. Is the style of football going to be different? That's kind of, this is why I'm saying Algeria is very unknown going into this tournament. I'm not sure myself. I really want them to do well, and I am expecting something from them, but I don't know quite what I'm expecting. Algeria, if everything clicks, could be a dark horse at this tournament, no doubt. Like, they could be aiming for a quarterfinals, definitely, if things click. But also, it's possible for them to get grouped if they don't lock in, and if Petkovic doesn't know what his best team is and whatever, because the group is not easy. Let's look at it. You've got Argentina in the first game, right? I think Algeria could surprise in that game for sure. It's possible, but they go in as the heavy underdogs. They're coming up against, in my opinion, the best team in the world. The pressure's not on them, though. That's one good thing. The pressure will be on the reigning champions. But more likely than not, let's say Argentina win that game, then Algeria have 2 games where the pressure is on them. Now you have to go. Now you have to win. You've already lost a game. You can't lose any more. Now you have to go. Playing against debutants Jordan, whose attack, I'm sorry, the way Algeria were getting ran through at times at the AFCON, especially in that Nigeria game, the Jordanian attack, if they're all fit, which we still don't know, that could be worries for Algeria. And then Austria, a top European team, very good pressing team, under Ralf Rangnick, very well drilled, and repeating the disgrace of Gijon from 1982, when Austria made a deal with Germany to let them win 1-0 and then just pass the ball around the back to allow both teams to progress and Algeria to be eliminated, which is the reason why all final group games are now played at the same time. So that's an interesting bit of history for you guys, and that's going to happen again, and Algeria want to get their revenge on Austria. However, let's talk about permutations. If Algeria are to come second, more likely, 95% chance, round of 32 opponent is Spain. That's the issue here. Algeria will go into that opening game against Argentina going for the win. 100%, they're going for the jugular, they want to win. They want to top the group, because if you top the group, you probably don't play Spain, because I don't think Spain will finish second in their group. However, if you lose that, then does the plan become finish third and play more likely than not a Switzerland, right? Which is obviously much easier than Spain, because I think Algeria against Spain could get absolutely terrorized. Whereas, I think the Spanish style could really hurt Algeria. Whereas a Swiss style, a much, a slower style of football, I think could fit Petkovic. And Petkovic obviously managed Switzerland before, so that could be something, right? So what do Algeria actually want to achieve in the group stage? That's another question. I think they're going to be such an interesting team at this tournament. I think Mazza's going to break through, and I'm expecting something from them. I can see them beating Argentina in that first game. Call me crazy, but it's definitely possible. and I think he'll have learned from the AFCON. I think we're gonna see some very, very entertaining players going forward. You know, I think Haj Musa could have a big tournament if he gets the minutes. Like I mentioned, Maza, Amoura, all these guys. I think Algeria could be poised for something. And, you know, they haven't been back for 12 years. This is a big moment for the nation. They're a passionate group of fans, and they will be supporting their team like crazy in the stands for those that can get there. And I think that maybe, guys, Algerian fans, let me know in the comments, but maybe something is happening, you know? A Morocco 2022 story? Maybe? Nah, probably not. But don't write this team off. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on Algeria. I've seen, like, some of the power rankings that I've seen from certain like journalists and everything, I thought was very disrespectful. Having Algeria in the low or high, like late 30s. Come on, man. These guys are a top 25 team. There's no doubt about it, right? I forgot where I had them in my rankings, but I think they're a top team. Who, you know, all Europe players, you know, playing top European clubs, top European leagues, familiar to the casual European fan. So, in my opinion, they're gonna have a big tournament. But let's see how big it can be. I'm really interested to see it. And I think Petkovic, I think it's a big moment for him. Right? I think that's something we haven't talked about. I think that, you know, the AFCON was about par, it was okay, but he needs to do better now. You know, he's been at the World Cup before with Switzerland in 2018, where it was a round of 16 exit. They drew with Brazil, obviously in the group stage, and then they went out in the round of 16. I can't remember if he coached them in 2022. I don't think so. I think that was Yakin's first tournament. He's been at many Euros with Switzerland, done very well, got Switzerland to the quarterfinals of the Euros where they only lost on penalties to Spain. He knocked out reigning world champions France in 2021, let's not forget. So he's an experienced manager. He's very tactically astute. I think that for international football, he is that guy. I think I've always rated Petkovic as a top manager, and I'm expecting him to do it again because they kind of let me down against Nigeria. I was backing them to win, but I think overall the AFCON was decent. But now you got to go higher. I'm high and I'm getting higher. Yeah, that's where Algeria need to go now, and I'm expecting it. I'm expecting something big. Thank you very much for watching till the end. Let me know in the comments what team you want to see me do next. What are your expectations for Algeria? Who's going to be the breakout stars for this team? And how far can they go? I'll catch you guys soon.